Now we go.
See, you can't repeat stuff like that.
Well, I can repeat stuff like that.
Okay, keep it going.
I was just saying how your voice has a real energetic East Coast flavor, solid tone, but the Southern lilt that just comes in, it just makes it all good.
All syrupy.
Yes.
Getting all in the crevices.
Yes.
I am sitting here on Sundays with Rolonda getting compliments from Nicole Ari Parker. What kind of day is this?
Oh.
Sundays just got better. You're listening to Sundays with Rolonda. I'm Rolonda Watts, your host, and we just have some great women. We are in this celebration of unstoppable women today, and Nicole, you are certainly one of them. I am so excited about so many things. About your life and your life with Boris and the kids and your careers.
Yes.
Yeah, girl, you listen. You're right after my own heart. From the acting to the talk shows to being a mom. I am so excited about this talk show coming up on Fox.
Yes.
That's
this
family
summer.
for me.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's the first time Boris and I are going to be on the other side of the couch.
Yeah.
And so we're nervous. We're excited. It's a test run in July on Fox called The Boris and Nicole Show.
Now, did you fight about whose name was going to come first?
Well, I'm a little old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a modern woman, but I like his name coming first, okay? He can take out the trash and fix the cabinets.
Oh, that's right. So it's not going to be the Kodjoe show.
No, Kodjoe.
Kodjoe show. Kodjoe show.
I called home. I was like, Mom, do you realize we're going to have a mug, like a coffee mug, the Boris and Nicole show?
That's right. It's exciting. So
it's very exciting.
How did this come about?
Well, we've always had ideas about collaborating in this way. We had a radio deal for a while. We've been playing around with our own reality show, but nothing ever really took off. And God has a way of waiting till you're really ready for something like this. And we're going to be 10 years married in May.
I love it.
Which is
what a way to celebrate 10 years.
That's is the kickoff of a talk show together.
That's right.
We're making a little bit of history. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a groundbreaking experience. We're African American. We're married. Major network. It's exciting.
It really is. And I think you guys are going to bring so much to daytime. Because
we have a lot of life.
Yeah, but what I love about you guys, because I've known you for a long time, I adore each of you individually, and then together it's just crazy. And to watch you build a family, you left L.A., you're coming back. I mean, we've followed you. We have followed your relationship. We have followed your family. And what I love about you guys is you're so transparent. Because life hasn't always been, as they would say, here we're gonna come on in, Felicia.
Here comes the person
Here
that
comes the
introduced
person
Boris and I, basically.
Oh my God!
She's the reason we're even.
Oh my God! Don't be pointing at me like
We're pointing at this. This is Felicia D. Henderson, everybody, the executive producer of Single Hey Girl.
Yes.
Hey, come on in.
Formerly the head honcho over at Soul Food.
That's right. The woman who made television history with Soul Food, the longest running television
Okay,
series.
because Boris was supposed to come in as the, hunky FedEx guy to my office, cut to 4 seasons later.
Oh my God, so
Yes.
did you really introduce them?
She wrote all this. Well, she hired him.
I hired him.
Come here, talk to the mic.
Chemistry.
The camera introduced them. I merely hired him, but I still have to give props to my dear friend Gina Prince Bythewood.
Yeah.
Because I wrote this character, and then we couldn't find him. And so I called Gina at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, he doesn't exist. Damon doesn't exist. And she was asleep, of course. And she was like, there's an actor I used in Love and Basketball, Boris.
Honey, nobody's sleeping on Boris today except you.
It's Sunday, Rolonda.
I know. Let me keep it clean. Listen, Felicia, go on and sit down in the
where do you
studio,
want
in
me
our
to
brand new
sit? Yes.
studio. We're going to come back to Felicia Henderson.
beautiful studio.
Isn't this a beautiful
Yes.
studio? Oh, you are listening to Sundays with Rolonda, and we are so excited because we are celebrating some unstoppable women today on this wonderful show. Sundays just got better. We've got Nicole Ari Parker here, who is going to talk with us about everything. Her careers, life is changing.
Working with Felicia again.
Working with Felicia Henderson. Now, let me tell you the story. We're going to come to Felicia also, who is one of the powerhouses here in Hollywood, folks. I want you to know. First of all, you remember Soul Food, and we saw it.
Okay, we got to go slow for a second here, okay?
What?
Because we that show was on in 2000. That was 15 years ago.
That's hard to believe.
And I know, and people still call me Terry.
Like
in the
it's still
airport.
today.
Hey, Terry.
That's right.
Nicole, maybe? And
Wait a-
so it really left a mark.
It really
I mean,
did.
I can only imagine if that was on a major network today. It was. Remember, it was on Showtime.
Well, you know, it was.
social media age.
Yes.
And you
It was
think
really
about
groundbreaking.
But what Empire is today, that's kind of what you were doing back then, Felicia. You've always done groundbreaking art.
That's what I do.
That's what you do.
I break ground.
And
that's what Felicia D. Henderson means in Swahili.
Well, let me tell you my story, and we're going to get more into Felicia in just a minute, but my favorite story is when I finished my talk show. God, can you believe this? 20 years ago, okay?
Wow.
I finished my talk show. I come out here. I'm going to Hollywood. I'm going to get me another career, too. And this co-executive producer of Sister Sister and the writer created that character, that crazy character, Vivica. And God, I still remember those days. Y'all gave me my break in Hollywood.
When you write
Wow.
crazy, you have to have someone who can play crazy.
Well, I play cray cray. Just call Rolonda.
Oh, who would be perfect for this?
Rolonda.
That was the other thing Gina said in her sleep at 3 a.m. Call Rolonda.
Rolonda. But Nicole, let's get back to you because we were just talking about the talk show that this is a dream that you guys have had.
But you know, with everything that's great and the perception of Boris and I, there's one thing to be married and there's another thing to be married with kids. And kids just level the playing field.
You're right.
Everything gets really real. And so I am a married parent. I know all about the I don't want to eat that right now fights with your kids and the getting ready for school and the 4th grade math homework. Like, we are a very real family and we're very different. And I think that's going to be part of the excitement about the show in connecting with the audience, is that our real life has really given us a lot to material, a lot of material.
Absolutely.
That's it in a nutshell. Yes. You know, it's not all sparkles and glitter, and I'm walking around with a kimono on.
Right.
You know,
well, that's what we were
roasting
talking about
chickens.
before you came in, Felicia. That's what we were talking. I mean, because I got to tell you, you two are not bad to look at. You're a little easy on the eye, and all of us think about you having champagne and caviar, and you're in the bubble bath all day long, looking at Boris all day long.
yeah.
He's looking at you all day long
The Mr. Bubble in the water.
for the kids.
And then, no, for me, because that's all that's left in the house is a little bit of Mr. Bubble I found in their bathroom. And I might lower the lights thinking the kids are asleep. And I'm just about to undo the kimono, Rolonda. And here comes Mommy.
Oh, no. Oh, God. So
It's over.
How are you two different in parenting?
Well, you know, culturally, you know, he didn't get to America until he was like 17, 18 years old on the tennis scholarship. So he's fresh from the mountains of Germany, and his father's from Ghana.
Oh, wow.
So I am married to an African German. And everything you think that is, it's true. Organized, king of the house, no nonsense, straight ahead kind of guy. And who happens to be very beautiful, but he's 1,000 times more beautiful on the inside.
He really is. And what I like about Boris has never come across like, I know I'm fine.
No.
Never come across that way.
No, and so you know, I tell the story of how when we first moved in together, at one point he turned off the television and the lights and said it was now bedtime.
The king says, sit down, go to sleep.
And Felicia will tell you he had a very heavy German accent. He was like, "It's time for bed," and I was like, "Oh, I'm grown." Okay, and I determined my own bedtime. He's like, "But it's late." All right, okay, we're going to work through this. So 10 years later, here we are, and we have a bedtime. You know, you fight your battles. You pick your battles.
But you did say you kind of like being the old-fashioned. That's why the new show that's coming out in July is Boris and Nicole.
Yes, his name comes first. But the thing is that I'm from Baltimore. I'm a black American woman. I have mouth and neck roll and attitude and irritability, and the mouth turns up when I'm making a point. So I think we're perfect for each other. You know, I'm going to really bring that sensibility, American sensibility to the show, and he's going to bring a broader global appeal to the show, and I think it's going to be great.
You guys keep doing stuff together. Now we go to Soul Food. Now we got the talk show. And you were also, I spotted on The Real House Husbands, right?
Yes,
Hollywood
well,
Husbands.
It's really the Real Husbands of Hollywood.
Not House Husbands. Boris, I'm so sorry.
Not a house husband.
King Boris, I apologize.
But the wives, Sally Richardson and Holly Robinson Pete has guest starred, and Tisha Campbell Martin, and so the wives get a chance to make cameos. And this last season, right before we closed our deal on the talk show, Chris Spencer wrote that my character got her own talk show and lost her mind.
Lost her mind.
and played all the friends against each other because they all wanted to be her co-stars. And I became power hungry and all these things. So don't worry, it's not foreshadowing anything. But it's great that, people don't know how funny Boris is. And they don't know that comedy is one of my, my first loves.
Yeah.
So we get a chance to be silly and funny and over the top.
Right, because even on Single Ladies, you play a pretty heavy character. You play a pastor, right?
I play a pastor that my beautiful friend to your right wrote, which is
Felicia D. Henderson.
Yes.
Coming up
And,
here on Sundays with Rolonda. Stay with us.
Where's that voice from?
it's the Boris effect. He's not here, like you just go into that mode. But Felicia is one of those writers that doesn't skim the surface, and it's very important to give actors and the creative team a chance to really bring to life what's really going on in the inside of a life or inside of a character. And when she told me she was writing this character on Single Ladies, I said, absolutely, whatever you want. I mean, she could write anything, and I would say yes.
Now we're going to talk to Felicia about because this Reverend, the Reverend has quite a deep past. I mean, this is a
layers.
checkered past of a pastor. But Felicia, why don't you talk about it? Let me introduce Felicia D. Henderson because we keep referring to her. And if you know anything about television and you have been watching television for these decades, you have seen her work. She's an award-winning creator. A creator, y'all, that's where the money is. She's a creator. She's a writer. She's an executive producer. She is changing the landscape, not just in all of that, but she also directs. Here's some shows. Soul Food, the series, the longest running drama featuring African Americans in television history. She's right now, as we know, on Single Ladies, BET and Centrix. And we want to talk about, because that show has changed since you came on board.
Well, I think she brought a level, in the transition of it going over to BET and Centric and some of the characters leaving, she had to find a way to bring all those elements together. So the first show out the box had some crazy transitional energy, and people were finding their place again. The people were tweeting, and they were mad that this character was going to jail, and why was the pastor shady, and what's happening. So as it continues on in these next 5 episodes, the lightheartedness will come back, but Felicia has a way of sneaking up on you with all of the layers, and you just are rattled. And
well, that's
I
the
can't
way
wait for the viewers to see the rest.
Well, that's what I tell people. We don't pay all that money to go to movies, see a bunch of people sitting around happy. We want to see some drama.
Yes.
And that's what you've brought. There's some real gravitas now to Single Ladies. When you get a project like this, Felicia, this is like dream come true. People dream about stuff like this. And you get that project, and now you're sitting there behind the computer, and you're beginning to start that orchestra. Tell me what goes on in your mind as a writer, a creator, and somebody who understands the bottom line is the bottom line here.
Yes. I think the first thing that goes on in my mind is, where's Nicole? What is she doing?
I love the loyalty. We don't see this. Well, you do see that when you got your go-to people.
Yeah. For me, it is not even because I like her and she's a nice person, truly, because it's my career. It is because she's that talented. Like, there's no word that I could put on the page that she couldn't play.
Wow.
So that's why I like her. That makes me actually quite selfish. Like, if she wasn't talented, we wouldn't be here together today.
Right.
So that's where you first, start. And because I want it to be a primer, too, for us to be able to work on other things together. And so in case she tries to forget me and find another love. I only accept Boris before myself.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And the kids, maybe the kids. Maybe the kids.
Yes, it's the kids, Boris, and then me.
Right.
And so, but you know, I just have to give props to Laretha Jones, because she's the one who called me to say, I need a favor. We bought this thing that VH1 has canceled, and you know, we need you to come and do what you do. And I said, well, you know, I can do what I do, but can I make some changes? She said, come in and talk about the changes you want to make. And so that's what I did. And she said, go. And I thought, okay, let's have some fun.
Oh, wow, what a blessing. So many people are in transition, or trying to do something new, or to take something like something that needs the dust blown off and create something new. How do you deal with the naysayers and the people who, like Nikki was just saying, don't even want to see change?
Yeah. You know, I when you ask me that kind of question, I immediately go to Michael Jordan, and I keep that little plaque on my wall that says he never saw all the players between him and the basket. He only saw the basket. And I think that's what's important.
I got chills.
That's what's important. If you see all the defenders trying to keep you away from the basket, then you're not focused on the goal. So people are going to say what they're going to say. Haters going to hate.
That's right.
So what are you going to do about that? Really, you should put no energy to it.
You have so much wisdom, and she's taken that wisdom to UCLA, y'all. She's going for her doctorate. Is that right? Going for her doctorate, and also you're teaching. That's you know, you're always on the set everywhere you're teaching, but I really think that's fascinating. Tell me something about this industry. How has it changed? I know you've been in it for many decades, but not many decades. Well, I'm just thinking like 20. I know 20 years I've been here, so, and I'm aging myself too. But you know what? I claim those years, man.
This is
As
my
hard as
20th
we,
year.
right?
This
As
is my
hard.
20th year.
See there?
Yes.
See?
Yes, but you said decades like there were.
Well, there are
30
two. There's two good ones.
Yes, two really good ones.
But
She was Norman Lear over there.
But really, the industry has changed so much. We're sitting here talking about Empire. We were just talking about the you know, the rebuttal that they're getting. Is this too much of a good thing?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it gives me great joy to see Empire and Power and all of these kinds of shows, because when we were doing Soul Food, that was the dream, that it would be one show that opened it up, and then every time you turned on your television, you couldn't get away from them. I didn't think it would be like 10. How many? We did the first year in 2000. I think it ended in 2004. So we didn't think that sort of 10 years after it was off the air, that's how long it would be before we saw multiple shows. You know, everything from How to Get Away with Murder to like all of these shows. And now there's obviously more development, because success breeds success.
That's
and you
right.
hope that they will take their time and develop shows well, so they don't do a lot of shows quickly and then they're bad.
Cookie
and
cutter
then
shows.
Watches, and then they go see nobody wanted. It was a phase.
It was a fluke.
Yes, as opposed to take your time and do good shows. But so it's exciting. It is exactly where I had hoped that we would be one day. And it just reminds me, and sometimes I'll, like Nicole said, because of Soul Food, people still will come up if they know that I did it, or if they're told that I did it, they're like, well, can't you come back? Like, people love the show still. And so for me, back then, that's what I was thinking. And then they also always ask, how come you never created another show like that? And they don't know, like every year I would go out and pitch something with black folks at the center, but it wasn't selling. And I certainly was told, you know, can you make the main character white? Wait,
hold up. You walked in with a black show, pitching a show, and they say, we'll take it if the main character's white.
Absolutely, on more than one occasion.
Well, you know, because in defense of that ignorance, it's because that's where the money was in their perception. But you got to remember, internet has changed. Social media has changed the landscape of everything.
Everything.
Meaning, you can't be a dictator of a small country and have your people believe what you say, because they know that there's a whole world out there.
That's right.
You can't be an industry that perpetuates this propaganda that only one kind of household exists. Because the fabric of life shows you constantly on social media that there are a lot of people out there with different colored skin, different faces. So the gay best friend, that is the cute best friend, is now the lead, because that's how it is in real life. You might have a gay black boss in an interracial relationship with 2 Asian children.
That's right. I'm even seeing it reflected in commercials.
Yes.
Who would even dream we'd see interracial?
But it's because that's the way it is. People are acting like it's some kind of, like you said, fluke or something. No, it's a representation of life.
That's right.
We are in a blended community, and it's all exposed now. And if you want to make the money, you got to cater to everybody. But what starts to happen is, yes, you get more black faces on TV, more Asian faces, more Latino faces. But what starts to happen is we start to humanize. That you're going to make a show like Homeland, and you're going to cut to the head of the CIA, and they're going to be black.
That's
and you're going
right.
to cut to the boyfriend, the presidency.
Right, the president.
Cut to the lead, and she's Asian, and
Right.
it's just because that's the way it is, because we all went to college.
Exactly. Well, I just did the whole cast of Empire here on Sundays with Rolonda, and go back and check out that show if you missed it. But Taraji P. Henson was talking about that. She said when we went to the foreign press, not one journalist said anything about it being a black show. They just saw it as a human show that everybody in the world, any human could relate.
It's Dynasty.
Exactly.
Black people watch Dynasty in
Exactly.
Dallas.
And
I watch Game of Thrones.
Oh, so do I.
Do you know what
That's
I mean?
Good.
I like. It's when it's good, it's good.
It's good.
And that's where people like Felicia are vital to stay in this industry and not get discouraged.
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't get discouraged. Can you imagine how many other Felicias might have been out there who gave?
About the basket.
That's right.
Because now
that's
that the
right. It's about the
landscape-
keep your eye on the basket.
Because
That's
now
right.
that the landscape is changing, when she walks into a network, they want her to write something good.
Right.
I don't care if it's black, I don't care if it's Asian, I don't care if it's Latino, write it and make it good.
Now, social consciousness is just coming all of these wonderful new shows, and I know that's important to you. Can you talk a bit about what your consciousness is? What is important to you to really to push home? What's our takeaway?
I always think about being really important in the lives of my nieces and nephews. Whether or not I want to be, they think I walk on water. And they see all shades and sides, and my good and my bad and my angry and my happy, but they pretty much worship me. So I have to, what's important to me are images that they can then watch on television where they see themselves and and who they are as people, not just the color of their skin, not just from a race point of view, but their dreams, and particularly girls. It's I have a new assistant, and her father sent me an email that said 90% of the women in this business are trained by men. How blessed she is that she is trained by you. And those are the kind of things that are important to me, that if you are a woman, if you are a person of color, if you any of that, you have a responsibility, whether or not you want to realize
That's
it.
right. Preach.
You do to be the mirror, to
Contribute
be the
to our-
opportunity to be the opportunity for these people to learn something, to I always ask young people, even when I'm speaking, what are your dreams? Because some kids, you'd be surprised, don't even know to articulate a dream or to think that they're supposed to dream.
The worst thing can happen, you stop dreaming.
Yes.
Or never learn how
Never
to.
learn how.
Isn't that something?
Yes. I mean, I know people in my very own family, like, I have a good job. That's what I was supposed to do. As opposed to, what do I love? What am I passionate about?
Exactly.
What is it that I would do for free? Some people never ever think like that.
That's
So-
why we do this show, Sundays with Rolonda. This show is
Yes.
all about people going for their passion, trying something new, diversifying their lives, finding multiple streams of income,
And believing that it's all possible.
and believing that it's all possible. What do you tell yourself? Now, Nicole, we were talking about this earlier, that as perfect as life seems and as gorgeous, all that stuff, that as they say, life ain't been no crystal staircase in every portion. And I wanted you to really, I know the Sophie Foundation is so important, and this is a story that I don't think maybe a lot of people know that you and Boris had to deal with your daughter Sophie. Explain to us what spina bifida is.
Well, my daughter was born with a neurological birth defect called spina bifida, and the spectrum of it is very wide. You could basically it affects everything below the belly button, the bowel, the bladder, and the leg function. So you could have a child without any leg function, or like Sophie, she can walk and run, but she doesn't have any bladder function. She uses a catheter every 3 hours. And to empty her bladder. Some kids don't have any sphincter muscle tone, so they're in diapers. Some are in wheelchairs. So it's a wide range of what it looks like, but essentially it is a spinal cord birth defect that basically when the cord is closing in the first 3 weeks of conception, it doesn't close all the way and there's some nerve damage. And how it manifests is different. Now, with Sophie, you know, we had her right before we got married, and it immediately put us fast-tracked us on how to be in a relationship. We had
I was about to say, how did you deal with that?
Fight fair, make up quickly, plot and plan together, communicate. What people learn in 30 years of marriage, we learned in 10.
And you're still together, and still together.
And it's interesting you say that, because a lot of people think, well, the top 3 reasons divorce happens in this country is special needs, children, money, and infidelity. And in that order, like cheating doesn't necessarily break up a marriage. People can forgive each other. But the stress and the financial burden that sometimes families don't know how to overcome.
How do you overcome? What did you talk when you got in that huddle and it got tough? What did you say? What was the conversation?
That's a very good question. It's kind of like what Felicia said. You just have to do it for them. You have to not give up. I could not look at Sophie and not give her my all. You know, we can do this. Everything is possible. It's everything is doable. Like, don't be discouraged. It's the loneliness when you're in that situation that makes you think you can't get through it. But the minute you reach out, which is one of the beginning reasons of starting Sophie's Voice Foundation, a whole world opens up. Like, oh my God, I didn't know you were going through that. Yeah, that medication made my child sick as well, and that food caused a reaction, and I needed to change. You mean you can change the milligrams on your prescription? All kinds of crazy stuff that goes on in the course of a day. When you share that information, it's so much better. It's like in an abuse situation, in a child situation, in a relationship situation, share. Don't be ashamed of your situation. Reach out. And Sophie's Voice Foundation created that platform. And then when we realized that we could actually raise money and help some of the research that the bigger organizations couldn't do because they were, they were told where to put that money. We could raise a little bit of money. We have a very small foundation and do some outreach, do some preventative care, because spina bifida is 70% preventable with taking folic acid in your diet, coming from collard greens and spinach and strawberries naturally. But you can also buy folic acid in the grocery store, in the CVS. It's a cheap, inexpensive B vitamin that we always overlook.
You're right.
But in any case, we created this foundation for education and outreach, and it's not easy. I mean, we're really doing it. We have one executive director, and we try to raise awareness, but we also try to keep our finger on the pulse of ways to improve the quality of life of people that have it.
Doesn't it make you feel good when you're doing good and you're helping somebody?
And how easy it is sometimes. You know, Boris is West African, half West African. So when he went over to Nigeria and met with some health administrators and in Ghana he did the same. And it was so easy and inexpensive just to help one family for a whole year. And that's part of our mission is to supplies and things like that that we have in abundance over here: diapers, catheters, saline. A lot of countries don't have
basic things.
And families give up because they don't feel supported, and so it's a lot. And it's challenging, but it's rewarding. And Sophie's doing great.
And how old is she now?
She's 10.
10?
She's 10.
Is she 10?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Remember when she was in the oven?
I remember. She left me with a bun, too.
You don't have much of a bun over here. You don't have much. Anything else that you want to talk about?
I'm just grateful that Felicia and I got to work together again. It's been a while.
It's amazing.
I have to tell you this little thing about Boris and Nicole and I had lunch, I guess last week, speaking of the Boris effect. And so we were talking about everything and talk show and this and that, and I asked Nicole a question about her hair. And then,
ooh, girl, they're going to let you wear those braids.
We continued to talk. And then Boris, and the Boris effect is like, you must apologize. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. We're fine. Everybody here is doing fine. He's like, no. I will suffer later if you don't apologize now. Did you not see the tick in her cheek? She did not like the comment. I will be asked later.
You were so
Did you hear what she
exaggerating.
said? Do you think she really meant? I was like,
Oh my
oh, so
gosh.
I spent 2 days apologizing to Nicole, even though I
That's
didn't
so
even
not
know
true.
that yes, because you ignored my first apology.
How are you going to wear your hair on the show?
Any way I want.
Every
That's the
day
beauty.
you can
Yes.
change it.
Yeah.
And you'll have people who'll do it.
Producer.
But also, I think Stephen Brown and the people at Fox know that we come in all shapes and sizes. There's no reason to put us in a cookie
And
cutter.
Stephen is so cool. Stephen is very cool.
Wendy Williams gets to be Wendy. The girls on the Real get to be the Real. Rolonda gets
Got to be Rolonda.
Yes. Crazy.
And you know, and remember that's the thing that makes it show. Just being authentically you. If you change your
Yes.
hair one day, you come in a turban the next day. That's what you do. That's
know what?
you.
And I have some head wraps that I might. rock.
All of us do, girl. All of us.
She will be in a turban.
Listen, I know you're dashing. I know you're
Yes.
headed to see your beautiful husband. Please send our love to
Yes,
that.
he's in Cape Town, South Africa. right
Yes,
now,
and I know
working.
you're heading over there. And listen, my magazine, Celebrity Crowdfunded, is going to help you raise some money for Sophie's Voice Foundation.
Thank you,
And I'm so
Rolonda.
proud of everything you got. It makes me cry because
Thank you.
you're just really on a roll. It's your time,
Thank
and
you
really
so much
enjoy
for
it.
that. Let me give you a
I
hug.
know. Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, get home safely.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, y'all.
Okay, Felicia.
Are you on this? All right.
All right, y'all.
And
She's
it's
been
in
here with
North
me too long.
Carolina.
She's been around this North Carolinian. So now you are listening to Sundays with Rolonda, and we're going to switch gears just a bit here. We're going to now focus on Felicia D. Henderson, who I told you about. She's an award-winning creator of many things. She's a writer, she's a director, she's an executive producer. You know her from the Showtime network hit Soul Food. Remember that television series? It was the longest-running drama featuring African Americans in television history. She is back with the show Single Ladies on Centric, with BET. She's also helping shape young minds over there at UCLA, where she's going for her doctorate in film and theater and television. Film and television.
Yes.
And boy, and you're working on a pilot for HBO.
Yes.
You got, and you know, I can't wait to see the movies
I'm
you're
just
going to do.
laughing at myself right now because I cannot get in this damn chair.
The
Excuse my
chairs in
language.
this-
It's Sunday. And I'm
Listen,
cursing. I'm like,
that's all right.
okay, I'm in the chair.
I know, but this is our new studio.
This is
you're
half
like
the battle. Is getting in the chair.
getting in the chair. Well, listen, I'm so happy to have you in the chair. I don't know what to do.
Thank you.
As
Thank
I-
you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, as you were listening earlier, if you remember back in the day when I left the talk show and came to Hollywood, my first gig was playing Vivica on Sister Sister with her little evil self. And this is the lady who was a co-executive producer of that show. I bet created the character, wrote the script, and now she's directing. She just does everything. Felicia, I love you. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
And I would love to work with you again, too.
Thank you. Well, all it is a question, and the question is when.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes. Okay.
What you doing after the show?
Let's go write something.
Let's go write something. Let's talk about, we've talked about Single Ladies, and you're also doing this wonderful pilot for HBO.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
Oh, I'm very excited about that. It's been a long journey, but it truly, this is the best way to tell you about it. If you could, in your mind, say, what would be my perfect dream project? The answer to that question would be, it would be about Black women. It would be about friendship. Oprah Winfrey's Harpo would be my producing partner, and it would be at HBO.
Oh my God, all of that.
Yes.
Oh, what is this story?
Yes. This project is called The Colored Girls. And basically it is about real life 4 women in Washington, D.C. who are 4 of the nation's capital's foremost power players. And when I met one of them and then met the rest of them through her, like, little girls need to know you guys exist.
That's right.
You guys, I had dinner with them all one night, and I thought at the end, you guys need to be on television.
So it's based on real
women who are actually called, in some circles in Washington, D.C., the Colored Girls, because it's what the name they gave themselves, sort of tongue-in-cheek, when they became friends 30 years ago, working on
Wow.
Dukakis's presidential campaign.
Oh my goodness.
They were asked to move out of a conference room and told to move to the basement. And what they realized is like, well, only people of color are being asked to move to the basement. And one of the women is Donna Brazile. And she wrote on a note, hand wrote, "We shall not be moved," signed it, "The Colored Girls."
Wow.
And stuck it up on the wall.
As
No one
Donna.
ever asked them to move again.
I was about, as Donna would do so
Donna
well.
would do,
So well. I
right?
love Donna Brazile. So is this, tell me, it's on HBO. Are you writing it? Have you cast it? Is it ready? Are we ready to?
We're in very early stages. I'm writing it right now.
Who are
it's
the
a
four?
1 hour
Who are the four
drama.
you would love to see?
I just know that Nicole Ari Parker has to be
One of them.
And one of the women, who is Yolanda Caraway, who's a big time, public relations strategist and sort of a real life Olivia Pope, already said to me, by the way, Nicole Ari Parker has to play me.
Oh, wow.
And another one of the women, Leah Daughtry, said, "I would like Regina King, please." So they've all,
They got
had
their own
little-
version.
Yes, they do. And so I was like, guys, can I just write the script? You know what I mean? I have to just stay right here on these pages for right now. But it is a 1 hour drama that I guess I could describe as sort of a Sex and the City set in Washington, D.C. with 4 African-American best friends.
Wait. That's fantastic.
I'm so excited
with the political
about it.
backdrop and the
Yes.
chocolate city and
Yes.
all of that.
And from a point of view we've never seen before. It's not most political shows focus on the White House and look White House out. But this is about like the way into the White House that we've never seen. This and one of the women, Mignon Moore, who is my friend, is the first one who introduced me to her best friend. Her best friends. She worked in 7 years of the President Clinton White House. So I'm not making stuff up.
Right.
You know what I mean? These women really do exist. They really are that powerful. Leah used to be the chief of staff of the DNC. And so these women, you know who Donna Brazile is and all she's accomplished, of course. And I already spoke about Yolanda. So these are, I didn't make anything up. And I think they came to the pitch with me. They flew out from Washington, D.C.
Wow.
So when you walk
you
in
got
the
back.
halls, and these poor women, I could almost hear our music. I felt like we were walking in slow motion down the hallway.
I see it
So
now.
you bring them into the room and you don't have to go, well, there's these powerful, women. You're
Here
like,
they are.
Here they are.
Right here.
I'm not making this up.
I love it.
So I'm very excited about that. I'm writing like the wind and first finishing doing post-production on Single Ladies so that I could finish that script and get it turned into HBO.
That's wonderful.
Very
That's
excited
exciting.
about- I
That's
know.
awesome.
I
And it
know.
doesn't get better than all the things. You got Oprah, you got HBO, you got Nicole, and Donna
Whether she
Brazile,
wants to come or not.
whether she wants to come or not. I love the friendship. You have always been someone who's always been so loyal. I see you hanging still with the people from 20 years ago as
Oh,
you're
yes.
celebrating your 20-year anniversary.
Yes.
How does loyalty happen in business that is known for eating its young?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think you bring to this business who you are and what you are. And I'm one of 8 children. And so I come from a family where no matter what, in the streets, at school, wherever, if somebody approaches your sister, your brother in a bad way, it's on bets are
and
off.
popping.
Yes, it really is. And so sort of in my soul, I'm a person who, if I'm about you, if I'm for you, I dare someone to be against you. And also that I'm raised by my father, though, and my father is very much a person who doesn't believe you stay in relationships that are not healthy and where you are not treated with respect and with love. And so hopefully that's what I then draw to me, that I came into this business on Family Matters. And on Family Matters, I met Sarah Finney Johnson and Vita Spears. And people were like, in this business, and not just this business, wherever, there are people who are like being the only black. And they don't really want to see, and particularly black women. And I kept hearing that. But then I go to my first job, and I find these 2 walking, talking, beautiful angels of love who immediately pulled me in their office and like, okay, here's what you're doing right. Here's what you're doing wrong. If you think you're going to have a career in this business, here's what you need to stop doing. Here's what you need to do more of. And stayed on me and really raised me until they could hire me when they co-created Moesha. They then brought me onto that show.
That's right.
So without them, I don't know where I would be right now.
That just reminded me, we go back to Moesha days too, even before the Vivica on Sister, because the Rolonda show show covered Moesha.
That's right. You had the whole cast
They had the whole cast
Yeah,
on. We
remember
flew
how
out here.
excited we were about that.
Oh
Yes.
my God, girl, we go back
Yes.
like a spinal cord.
Yes. Yes, we do.
We are talking to Felicia D. Henderson today here on Sundays with Rolonda. I'm Rolonda Watts, your host, and you look out for single ladies and look out for this great show that's coming up on HBO. What is the name of it?
It's called The Colored Girls. Yes.
The Colored Girls. And you're working on something else too, right? You have something else you're working on?
I am, but I'm like, yeah, but no one knows yet.
Oh,
so
I know. Snoop
like,
Dogg
who
and
you
Dog
know?
here knows. I'll find out.
I'm like, the deal hasn't closed, so how could you know about that?
Well, listen. Well, I'm claiming it. I'm
Okay,
claiming it
thank
for you.
I
I'm
will
claiming
call
it.
you like, okay, yes, you claimed it. Thank you. It happened.
Now, I know that, you've got your friends that you've had for a long time, but you're also recognizing new talent. I think one of the
Yes.
things that excited us so much with shows like Empire is the fact that there were newcomers and fresh faces,
Yes,
people we
I
hadn't
love
seen
it.
before.
Yes.
And I think we want more of that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, going back to Soul Food, that was what was exciting about it for me. And when casting that show, quite frankly, was one of the biggest fights, is that I came, into casting with like, I want this one, and that one's my choice, and that one. They're like, we're the bigger names, so we could get bigger names. And I'm like, but that one killed it in the audition.
Mm-hmm.
I want the right actor for the job more than I want a name.
Right.
And I also like working with new people because they're so excited to work.
Mm-hmm.
They're so happy to work, and so you go, oh, I got 2 or 3 years of this attitude before they become a star, then who knows? But of course, so that was the joy of working and with people like Boris Kodjoe and Darren Henson. Like, it was their big break.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were just excited to be in the house and came to work on time every day and always knew their lines and how can I be better? They're always asking those kind of questions.
Well, let's answer that question, because there's an actor out there right now who wants to be better. There's a young person who wants to direct. There are people out there who are hungry for anything that might fall off the Felicia D. Henderson truck.
Oh, my goodness.
What would you say? Some top 3 words of advice, if you don't forget anything. If what are the top 3 things to remember in this business in particular?
I think that probably the very most important thing is to be about your business. Meaning be on time for work, be prepared when you get to work. What is the extra that you can do? I always tell young writers, you have to be the first one there and the last one to leave. You need to know more about that show than even the person who created it did to make yourself indispensable. But that also goes, my dear friend and casting director, Kim Harden, does this wonderful thing for young actors every year, like a boot camp. She's about to do it again, I think in April, in fact, in LA, but she does it all over the country. And that is a big thing she tells these young, like, don't come in the room acting like someone owes you something. Don't come in the room like sitting there doing too much chatting. Come in and do your work.
Do your work.
Be about the work. I've been in the room with young actors, particularly young actresses, coming into a casting session and giving all their time and small talk to the man in the room, because they assume that that's who's in charge. But even if they were in charge, it's usually the woman who's going to champion you. So you don't want to be disrespectful. Be about your business. Don't like, oh, if I flirt with him, you're not going to get the job that way because you've now been so disrespectful to me. You don't have an ally.
Ooh,
So,
ooh, I got
tiny
chills.
things.
And there's somebody listening. You know you did that in that room. We're talking to you. Don't do that anymore.
Don't do that
Don't do
anymore.
that.
Yes, and also for writers, I mean, that's where, I focus because that's what I am. It's like you have to read, and if you look at Empire, if you look at Game of Thrones, if you look at any of these shows in between, most of them have some roots and a little bit of Shakespeare.
Lear, King
So
Lear all over the
Can
place.
you do a little reading, so that you can go, oh my God, that's just an update of Othello. Oh my God, she's Desdemona. Oh my God, that's Iago whispering in Iago whispering in her ear. Like, so that that this is just done over and over and over again. There's nothing new under the sun. It's just what is your new spin on it. So I think those are the most important things. And I think too, if you do what you're hired to do well, you will get other opportunities. If you're about your business, I didn't come into this business as a director. I got opportunities to direct as a result of doing what I was hired to do well. Then people ask you what else you want to do, even if you're just in there, the person bringing the coffee. Bring that coffee like nobody else could. And then sooner or later, I'm going to go, by the way, what is it that you want to do with your life?
Right.
As opposed to the person's already, hey, I got a script for you. Like, you haven't even made my tea right, and you already worried
Well,
about
the script. That's why you got a hidden agenda.
Yes,
Hidden agenda. What did
yes.
you do when you were a little girl? What'd you play with?
God, you just came out of nowhere with that one. You know what? I was a freaky little kid, a weirdo, and I was very sickly. I had very, very debilitating asthma, so I spent a lot of time in the hospital, a lot of time in emergency rooms, a lot of missed school, and really hanging out with my mother. But my mother had 8 kids, so that gave me a lot of one-on-one time with her, and it also, I couldn't go outside and play, so I got a really active imagination. And
Isn't that something? Did you stay in your room and write?
I stayed or wherever my mother was, and she bought me lots of spiral bounders, 10
Isn't that-
for a
look
dollar.
Look what you do today.
Yes.
You know what? I used to talk so much as a kid that my father would say, look, here's a tape recorder
Yes.
and a microphone. Go in your
Yes.
room and tell a story and make up some voices and then play it later. And I look, what am I doing today?
Exactly.
What am I doing? I think that the beautiful thing is those things were encouraged, whether it was
Yes.
a spiral notebook or a
Yes.
microphone or...
Yeah, and I mean, but we were poor working class family, and so my mom would go down and buy secondhand comic books, and I just grew to love comic books, and now 2 years ago got my chance to write my first comic books. So I never thought I'd get a chance to do that, but I certainly knew because that's what I was reading as a kid. So that's mostly what I did, and then I had a brother, of course, was like, oh, Halala, you can't go outside. So I go, okay, I'll get you. And I go to my spiral binder and go, today Felicia cut off the head of her brother, So I was very creative about it, and then I would smile. He's like, what are you smiling about? I'm like, oh, that's
I
your
got
dad
you.
in my head.
And it's so funny. I remember the story of Steven Spielberg, and they said he used to torture his sister by taking her doll and putting it on a platter.
Yes.
And with lettuce all around it. And it's horrible.
Like, you must be a filmmaker one day.
You got to be a filmmaker.
Yes.
Let's talk about your latest talent. You've discovered a young lady
Yes.
who is gorgeous. Look at this girl. Okay, so we're going to meet Michaela in just a second. And if you are listening and you want to see Michaela and the rest of us here in the studio, well, then go to the YouTube channel, Rolonda, just Rolonda. And you can see us here in the brand new studio. And then a little later, you're going to meet Anthony, my engineer, and Tim over here.
Where's Tim?
Over here on camera. And we've got a young man here. What's your name?
My name's Keith.
Keith. We got the whole gang. We'll be right back here on Sundays with Rolonda right after this. And you'll meet Michaela. Hey, everybody, you are listening to Sundays with Rolonda, and I'm Rolonda Watts. And if you are on YouTube, I just want to say, hey, everybody in the studio wants to say hello, what's up? And if you want to watch later as you finish listening and see everybody in the studio, then go to Rolonda over there on YouTube. It's just that easy. Just Rolonda on YouTube.
I'm very excited about that.
R-O-L-O-N-D-A. Isn't that exciting?
R-O-L-O.
R-O-L-O.
Not
Rolonda. Because my mama said, no, don't want the Southerners going Rolanda. So they put an O in the middle, so it's Rolonda. But, but what is so interesting is we're talking here today with executive producer, writer, director, just so many extraordinary things that make her such an unstoppable woman and dear friend, Felicia D. I was about to say Taraji P. Henson, and there's Felicia D. Henderson. Okay, I got it. But just really excited. She's got some good stuff coming out on HBO. The Colored Girls, working with Oprah Winfrey and HBO, and just crazy good stuff happening. Also, we're going to meet Michaela. We just talked to Nicole Ari Parker, who is a recurring role in Singles Ladies and does about everything that Felicia does. But Felicia's collecting talent, and Michaela, you are the latest in the collection. And what a beautiful young lady you are.
Thank you.
My
Thank
goodness.
you. I
Now
appreciate
tell me, I
that.
see the world in you.
Do you?
Yeah. Tell me about your background. You are gorgeous.
Oh, I'm originally born in Cambodia. I'm Cambodian, Khmer. I was adopted from there around 5 months old. My dad's Caucasian, but my mom's Khmer. My grandparents are Khmer, so it's a very worldly family. And then I grew up in Maine, actually.
In Maine.
In Maine, so I'm kind of cold-blooded.
I was about to
So
say,
I am so
with all these
hungry.
legs hanging out here, these pretty legs hanging out, I was about to say from Maine. I know you're
Yes.
glad to be out of Maine, girl.
It is so hot here for me, and I'm still in a sweater.
Right.
But I did live in Atlanta for a couple years, which is where I met Miss Felicia, actually. I was in the studio, and she decided to pull by thinking that I was some hip-hop crazy rapper. Like, who's this girl in the studio? Like, then it was me, and then I had management at the time. And a couple months later, her people got in touch with my parents, and the rest is history. Now we're living out here in LA for
That's
good.
crazy. So you're a singer and you're an actor, and you're going to be singing in Single Ladies. Is that right?
I am, yes.
That's crazy. Good. Felicia, how did this happen?
Well, like Michaela said, I was actually in Atlanta doing Read Between the Lines for BET, and I had a friend there who said, come by the studio with me, and I could hear the singer singing in the back room. And I just thought, she's going to come out of there looking like Beyonce or Rihanna or somebody black, basically.
You're right.
With this kind of voice. And it was 2 years ago. Michaela's only 16. So it was
What?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
She was 14. And I was like, no, who was in there with you singing?
Everybody in the studio, especially the guys, are going, what? I'm so glad we made that clear before she left the studio. And if you want to go to Rolonda channel over there on YouTube, come and look at this 16-year-old people. We're protecting you here.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. I get it.
But isn't that amazing that you heard her in the background of a
Yeah.
phone call? That's crazy. That means it's supposed to happen.
No, I went to the studio, and she was in the background singing in one of the studios. I was there just to meet with a friend, and I could, hear her singing, and then she came out, and I saw her mom was there with her, and so I ended up after I met her and heard her amazing voice. I then started to question her mom because I'm all about, I worked on shows, Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Sister, lots of kids. So I'm always looking for the crazy mom. Okay? And how to stay away
That's so
from.
true.
So,
How's your mom?
Yes.
Right.
And her mom was there with her. So I was like grilling her. Like, I don't even know this. I'm like, what about education? Why is Michaela in this? Is this a dream you used to have? All the questions,
that's
all the
right.
buzz. And she was just so normal. And she was like, well, my father's a PhD, and we feel in our family education is important, and me and my husband have very successful business in Maine. Like, they didn't need Michaela to be in this business. This was her dream. And they were sacrificing to help her dreams come true. And I was like, I like these people.
You're blessed.
So I started introducing her to people, including one of my best friends, Janetta Patton, who is Usher's mom and manager, or former manager now. And I said, you have to hear this girl. And she's like, I don't want to hear nobody, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but you're going to, because we go back like that.
And guess what, audience? You're going to hear her too. Here is Michaela. Michaela, tell us about this song we're about to hear.
The song is called The Same. It premiered on Single Ladies in the first episode. And
Wow.
Yeah, I was so excited. It's a song that I wrote and produced, and it's one of those songs that I got a little sappy on it. I'm one of those.
Not 16. How could you possibly be sappy at 16?
Because you always go, 16-year-olds always think, we always have something going on in our heads that is worse, and it's like not really that bad.
Listen to this song, because you do write about love, and it sounds like you know something about it. Let's take a listen. Hold on, Felicia. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Goodbye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
Hold on.
Hey everybody, I'm Michaela. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and also an actress from the new show Single Ladies. You can catch that Wednesday night at 10 p.m. on BET and Centric. But right now, I'm listening to Sundays with Rolonda.
What do you know about all that love?
What do I know? I can't say this. I think my mama's listening.
But I know that you love music, and that people love to fall in love and listen to music like that. What has this whole experience meant for you? You're only 16. You're meeting Usher's mom. You got Felicia like your other mom. This is crazy.
It's a very humbling experience. When I went over to Cambodia, which is where I was born, I went over and stayed for about a month. And I realized over there.
It was your first time being at
Yeah.
15. She did this. She hadn't been back since she was 5 months old.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I went back and I met my grandfather for the first time.
Because you were adopted.
I was, and I'm named after him. The first thing he told me was, I love you very much, and you are everything to me. And I said, oh my God, okay, I'm gonna cry. And I was like, you haven't met me, you don't know anything about me, how could you love something like that? And you just do, you just know what unconditional love is. Like it's a feeling that you can't explain. And then when I got into music and being surrounded by such amazing people in my life, it's something that I can't explain, it's something so personal to me. So through my music, whether I'm talking about boys or breakups or whatever, it's a certain amount of passion that comes from it.
That's what we're
and
about.
it doesn't have to be about relationships at all. It could just be that amount of love from me, and then I interpret it into something else.
Or the love for yourself at
Yeah.
16. That's what you're. That's what
what's
your
most
peers.
important,
That's
what
right.
girls are dealing with in particular. And Michaela also, she plays the piano, she plays the guitar. She's an amazing dancer. So she's really the whole package. She's really, and for me, again, she has, such respect for professionalism, for the business.
You can tell.
Always ready, always prepared. And some people too, Rolonda, are just like old souls. You know, she's here and on this path because she was meant to be. When she was at my house last week, and it was like super late, and my niece was there, and my niece is like 25, and she has a friend 25 and another friend 30, and Michaela, and the four of them were in there, and I'm like, oh my God, she's like holding her own, and they're all just chatting. I'm in the kitchen washing dishes, like making sure that nothing that a 16-year-old shouldn't hear is being said, and I'm like, she's hanging with them.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you've been here before. You know, you're the reason she can go so deep is because it is something who she is. It's not even based on experience, it's who she is.
Yeah.
But
Well,
part of it too, like
go on.
being in the business as well from like such a young age, and you're rolling with like being in production is much different than writing for me when it comes to music, because there are a lot of male producers in a very confined space. So my parents were always there, but in creative space I like to be in my own little vibe. Being that and a minority, a female, young, you have to be able to hold yourself in certain situations, which I think it kind of forced me to grow up a little bit earlier than maybe most 16-year-olds would have.
Well, I feel good about you. I am so not worried about you, Miss Michaela, known by one name already. I want you to know. Okay. Cher, Madonna, Michaela, Rolonda, Felicia D. Henderson. I cannot thank you ladies enough. This has been the most fun hour. We've been having a good time in this new studio.
Thank you for having
and I thank
us.
you. Absolutely. And we'll be watching Single Ladies, you guys.
Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on Centric and BET.
There you go. And listen out for Michaela. We're going to play your music going on out of here. How about that?
Sounds perfect.
Okay, here we
Thank
go.
you.
Thank you so much for listening to Sundays with Rolonda. Be sure to follow me on Facebook at Sundays with Rolonda. We just started a brand new Facebook page over there, y'all.
Amen.
Amen. And then follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and all the rest of them out there, even LinkedIn at Rolonda Watts. That's ROLONDA. Thank you so much for listening. Now go out there and do something good.
All right.
Here we go. Hey everybody, I'm Michaela. I'm a singer, songwriter, and producer, and I listen to Sundays with Rolonda.
Oh, I love you. Girl, that was off the chain.
You want me to sing too?
Yeah, go on, Felicia.
You don't want that. You don't want that. I'm telling you right now.
Bracing ourselves.
You don't want that.
Okay, go on, do your thing. I think you can write it out.
I know. I was like, I'm going to need a script. Hi, this is Felicia D. Henderson, and I listen to Sundays with Rolonda because I need my soul fed.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You're listening to Sundays with Rolonda, and I'm Rolonda Watts, and I just want to say it means the world to me that you are listening. And as I have often said on this show, this is radio you want to watch. And now you can do that. You can go over to my Rolonda channel on YouTube, ROLONDA. There's some Rolonda Watts channels and a bunch of others, but Rolonda, just a plain old Rolonda channel. Go over there and you can actually watch the show if you're more of a visual person. So I just want to say thank you so much for following the show here and on YouTube. And you can even follow Sundays with Rolonda on Facebook. We got a new Facebook page. Follow me on Twitter at Rolonda Watts and also LinkedIn and Pinterest and Instagram. You know, that's how we do. We're a social media roller. Anyway, back here in this studio, this is one of the first shows that I've been doing in my brand new studio over here at CBS Radio. We are located, and this is only appropriate, on the Miracle Mile, honey, on the Miracle Mile. This little show I used to do in my pajamas and no lashes. Well, here we are today. It's a new day. And isn't that what we talk about all the time on Sundays with Rolonda? Trying something new, going for your passion, not being afraid to fail, and recreating and reinventing yourselves. And if you can get a multiple stream of income and doing all that, then baby, you are doing the right thing. You don't do anything in life by yourself, not the stuff that really counts. And I tell you, I've got some good people behind me, not only CBS, but right here in the studio, I have some great folks. You're going to hear me talking to Anthony. Anthony is my engineer.
Yes.
Anthony, introduce yourself. Who are you? Tell us about you.
All right, well, here it is. My name is Anthony. I've been in radio for 18 years. The first 15 years of my radio career, I was actually on the radio. I had my own radio show. Doing hip-hop and R&B.
Okay.
I started in Atlanta. I'm a Morehouse graduate.
Oh, stop it. You never told me you were. Oh, we got Spelman and Morehouse going on here?
Spelman, yep,
No.
Morehouse.
Oh, see? See? Hashtag.
Yes, Spellhouse.
Spellhouse.
Yeah, Spellhouse. Yeah.
A Morehouse man
So,
is
yeah.
my engineer. I had no idea.
I wanted to tell you, but we've been so busy.
Busy, I
I
know.
never had the opportunity to tell you until now.
I
So,
can't believe
right.
it.
I started in radio in 1995. I was at Morehouse starting in 93. And before that, I was in the United States Marine Corps. So,
Oh, and a Marine?
yes.
Oh, Lord.
Devil dogs!
I lucked out. Who y'all, or whatever y'all say, I lucked out.
So, yeah, when I left the Marine Corps, I went to Morehouse College because that was the only college I wanted to go to. It was
Right.
Morehouse College. And while I was there, I wanted to get started in radio. So as I was messing around one day at Spelman College, I saw the...
Messing around at Spelman
well,
College on the yard.
In between classes.
Right. Well, I
Between
know.
classes, yeah.
I know.
You go to Spelman, you just look. Get your look on. Just look.
Go to the wall.
Yes.
Sit on the wall.
Yes. That's where I was, and that's where I ran into Leonard McGee, who was the promotions director, and Shaka Zulu, who is now the he works with Ludacris, because I started with those guys in radio.
Wow.
Yes. So
now, you want to hear something funny? I went to Clark College and started in radio. I used to do a soap opera over there, radio soap opera at Clark College, and then got an internship at a local radio. But the taste of radio at that time in my life let me know I really wanted to go do television.
Yes.
I wanted the pictures too.
Yes.
But isn't that funny? Here we are. We started at the same kind of
area.
thing.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yes. So they gave me the phone number to call Corey Burns, and got an internship, and the rest is history. So how I ended up in Los Angeles. Applied for a job as the imaging director for 94.7 The Wave, and I left on air to sort of be behind the scenes. So I've been behind the scenes since January of 2012.
All right. And making Sundays with Rolonda look good.
Sundays with Rolonda.
Just got better. Spelman, Morehouse,
Yeah.
I can't believe this.
Yes.
Well, we're calling those institutions.
We have to.
I
Let
tell
them
you,
know.
that tuition paid off.
We're doing big things.
We're doing big. They're doing something good. All right, we're going to turn the camera also on my buddy. We go way back. See the guy over there who's not paying attention? The one over there who's on his, the one who's twittering or whatever he's doing. Yeah, there he is, right there. That is Tim Alexander. Now, Tim is a big Hollywood director, by the way. And in fact, he is the one who directed me in A Mother's Love, which actually got the 5-star Dove Award for family-friendly, faith-based films. Come on over here, Mr. Tim Alexander, my brother and partner in crime.
What's up? I'm gonna sit on your
Yeah,
chair.
come on and sit on my chair
I'm gonna
and
sit
tell
on her
everybody.
chair, 'cause that's where the camera is.
Exactly. And this is a man. He's a Hollywood director. He knows. So thank
I
you
can
for
also look at that camera.
thank you for helping me bring the show to a whole nother level. I mean, we do the audio, but you take all of my headshots, you put me in movies. I could not do this without you being here too. You know that.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, I couldn't do this without you having me here to do it.
Aw. So what are you up to?
I'm up to all kind of stuff. I manage an Olympic athlete now. She is a 4-time, this is going to be her 3rd time going to the Olympics. She's a 400-meter hurdler. She runs for Jamaica, Usain Bolt's teammate.
And her name is?
Her name is Siobhan Stoddard.
Wow.
And she's also a singer. She has 18 songs she's done. So she's
18?
18.
When did she do that? How did she have time to do the Olympics?
It's amazing. So she's she's the ultimate track star. Music track, running track. She's a winner all the way around.
I think we're going to have to feature her for my Unstoppable Woman.
Oh, yeah, you can't stop this one.
Can't stop this one.
Oh,
And
you
she
can't
really
stop
does
this one.
run.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's in the top 10 in the world. And she's going to take
Amazing.
gold in Rio.
And she's going to be right here on Sundays with Rolonda. In fact, we're going to have so many great guests here on Sundays with Rolonda. And you're going to be able to listen if you're in your car, on your smartphone, at the treadmill, babysitting, cleaning up your kitchen. Or if you want to watch us, you can watch us on Rolonda channel on YouTube, as you're doing right now. And we really appreciate that. And like I said, just keep following us because we've got some great shows coming up. And I thank you so much for listening. Now go out there and do something good.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. That's it.